She broke up and tried to keep it all. But when she came home, the apartment was empty. My girlfriend looked me in the eyes and said, very calmly, "Ryan, I'm moving out. And I'm keeping the apartment since my name's on the lease." I took a breath, held her gaze, and said, "Makes sense." What she didn't know was that by the time she came home, that apartment would be 4 empty walls and her clothes neatly folded on the floor. Nothing else. I'm Ryan, 29. My girlfriend, now ex, is Ashley, 27. We'd been together for 2 years, and about a year ago we moved into a beautiful 2-bedroom apartment, tall windows, soft gray walls, a view that looked golden at sunset. Her credit was better than mine, because I was still climbing out of medical debt. The lease went in her name. That part was practical. But when we moved in, she was between jobs, so I paid the security deposit, the first month's rent, and, this is important, I furnished everything. I mean everything. The kind of everything you only realize when you start listing it and your bank account winces. Back then, it felt like building a life. I remember the night the couch was delivered. This big, rich charcoal sectional with deep cushions. We sat cross-legged on it, eating takeout, laughing, planning how we'd hang lights on the balcony. I remember the 65-inch OLED arriving, and her clapping like a kid when the colors popped for the first time. The espresso machine, God, that espresso machine, became her morning religion. I assembled the bed frame while she opened boxes and made a playlist. There was a softness to those early days. Like, this is home. A year can change everything. It was a Monday night when the words landed. She had that practiced look. The kind you get when you've rehearsed in the mirror. "We need to talk," she said, voice low, hands folded. Those 4 words never mean anything good. She went on. "I've been thinking about us. And I don't think this is working anymore. I need to explore who I am, without being in a relationship." I nodded. I can be an adult about a breakup. People fall out of sync, it happens. But then she added a postscript like it was an administrative note. "Since the lease is in my name, I'll be keeping the apartment. You'll need to move out by the end of the month." I just looked at her. The apartment I had made livable. The life I had furnished. "So, you're breaking up with me, and I'm the one who has to go?" I asked. "I'm not kicking you out," she said, brightening with that lawyerly tone she used when she wanted to feel righteous. "I'm just exercising my legal right to the apartment. It's nothing personal." Nothing personal. The phrase landed like a cold drop inside my chest. I asked, carefully, "What about the furniture? The TV, the kitchen stuff I bought?" She laughed. Actually laughed. "It's in the apartment, so it stays with the apartment. Don't be petty about some furniture, Ryan." I let my eyes sweep the room. That $3,200 sectional. The TV glowing in demo mode. The KitchenAid mixer gleaming on the counter. The Instant Pot, the espresso machine she worshipped every morning. The West Elm bedroom set. My gaming rig, PC, dual monitors, mechanical, keyboard. The soft rugs I'd picked because she liked how they felt under her feet. Even the shower curtain had been my choice. My money. "Right," I said evenly. "Makes sense." She smiled. Triumphant. "I knew you'd be mature about this." She went to bed early, satisfied, and slept like a baby. Me. I watched the city lights reflecting on the TV screen and felt something quiet click into place. Like a lock sliding open. Morning arrived with a steel blue sky. Ashley left at 8, perfume floating behind her like punctuation. She gave me this patronizing kiss on the forehead, like a mother telling a kid, "Be good today." I watched her car disappear onto the main road. Then, I got to work. I called my buddy Jake, who owns a moving company. "I need your biggest truck and 2 guys. When?" "Today." "As soon as you can. What's the job?" "Everything." By 10 o'clock, Jake's truck idled outside like a faithful warhorse. The movers climbed out. Big guys with easy laughs. I had every receipt in a neat folder. Because I am that guy, I keep records. We started with the obvious wins. Couch, coffee table, TV stand, TV, the soundbar, subwoofer, HDMI cables coiled like snakes, dining table and chairs, wrapped and lifted, Bed frame. Hex keys working, the metallic clinks echoing in the bedroom as screws came out one by one. Mattress? That one stayed. It was hers, from before we met. The nightstands, dresser, mirror, loaded. My office, desk, chair, PC tower. Monitors with their stand clamps loosened and tucked away. The keyboard's clicky little heart went into a padded case. The apartment echoed more with every item removed, like air rushing into a vacuum. But I wasn't finished. I remembered her exact words. Everything in the apartment stays with the apartment. Cool. Let's define everything. I boxed the microwave, the toaster, the blender, the air fryer, bubble-wrapped twice for safety. And yes, the espresso machine, polished and smug even with the water tank removed. Every pot, every pan, every knife placed back in its sheath. Plates stacked with paper between them. Bowls nested. Silverware, rubber-banded into neat little bundles. Glasses and mugs fitted like a game of Tetris into thick cardboard. The rugs rolled and taped. The curtains slid off their rods with a whisper. The nicer blinds I'd installed? Down they came gently, and the ugly original blinds went back up from the storage closet where I'd kept them, because I knew they belonged to the apartment. The smart thermostat popped off with a practiced twist. The original thermostat clicked back into place, and lit up like nothing had changed. Smart bulbs unscrewed, labeled and boxed, boring incandescents back in, one by one. The doorbell camera, unscrewed, memory card safely pocketed, router and modem, unplugged and coiled. Even the nice felt hangers, boxed. The cheap wire ones? Back on the rack in a lopsided, jangly line. The movers shook their heads and laughed. Dude, you bought everything. Exactly, I said, smiling. And now, I'm taking it. By 2 in the afternoon, the apartment looked like an unfurnished model. White walls, the hum of the old thermostat, window light falling onto bare carpet. I vacuumed, because yes, I'm that kind of petty and that kind of careful. I wiped the counters. I folded Ashley's clothes and set them neatly where the bed had been, a quiet courtesy in a silent room. On the counter, I placed the keys. Next to them, the garage fob. Next to that, a post-it with 2 words. As requested. The best part? My doorbell camera, before I took it, had filmed the whole move in bright daylight. Every box, every receipt held up to the lens. Calm, efficient, indisputable. I already had a studio across town lined up from the night before. Small, yes, but with warm light in the afternoon, and a kitchen that felt like a fresh page. By 5, I texted Ashley. Moved out as requested. Keys are on the counter. She replied, breezy as a spring day. Thanks for being mature about this. I put my phone face down and smiled to myself. Oh, honey. Just wait. Evening turned into a chorus of vibration. Texts rolling in like waves at 6:47 p.m. What the hell did you do? Where is everything? You can't do this. Ryan. I swear to God I'm calling the police. 20+ calls stacked up. Then a voicemail, acid etched into memory. Ryan, you psychotic piece of trash, you took everything. There's nothing here, not even a fork. Where am I supposed to sleep? What am I supposed to eat with? You even took the toilet paper holder. Call me back right now or I'm calling the cops. I replied once. I took my belongings, as requested. The apartment is all yours. Enjoy exploring who you are. At 9, there was a polite knock at my new door. Police. Evening, sir. We received a complaint about stolen property. Of course, I said, opening the folder on the counter. I have receipts for everything. Doorbell footage of the move, daylight, peaceful, and these are texts where she told me the apartment was hers and I needed to vacate. They watched the video on my tablet, movers carrying my couch, me showing each receipt. The keys placed on the counter, my calm face looking briefly toward the camera. The older officer chuckled, almost apologetic. Sir, this is a civil matter. You can't steal your own property. Understood, I said. If she has an issue, small claims court is the venue. He added. Perfect, I said. I'll bring the receipts. They left. My phone lit again. Ashley screaming that I'd manipulated the cops. I blocked the number. Quiet returned. The kind that tastes like relief. Morning brought a call from the building manager. Mr. Peterson's voice was professional, but I could hear curiosity. We received a complaint from Miss Ashley regarding vandalism and missing fixtures. I moved out, as requested, I said. The apartment should be in perfect condition. The original fixtures are installed. Thermostat? Original reinstalled. Blinds? Originals put back. The nicer ones were mine. A pause, then a chuckle he tried to swallow. I've never seen anyone document a move out this thoroughly. It's a hobby, I said. By lunch, I discovered Ashley had moved on to social media. A neat carousel of her sadness, filtered and righteous. Some men can't handle rejection, she wrote. Imagine being so petty you strip an entire apartment because your fragile ego got hurt. Her friends swarmed with the usual comments. You deserve better. He's a narcissist. Financial abuse. The internet can be a choir when it wants to be. I posted 3 images. 1. A tidy tower of receipts. 15,000 and change. 2. A screenshot of her message. Everything in the apartment stays with the apartment. 3. My new studio. Warm, fully furnished, espresso machine grinning on the counter like a trophy. Caption. When she keeps the apartment, you keep everything else. My stuff. My choice. People love a story that tastes like justice. Of course, the campaign spilled into real life. An unfamiliar number texted me. This is Megan. Ashley's staying with me. She had to sleep on the floor. You left her with nothing. How can you be so heartless? She has her mattress, I replied. And all her clothes. I took what I bought. She can't even make coffee. I bought the coffee maker. Normal people split things. She said everything in the apartment stays with the apartment, meaning my things. I disagreed. And I left. You're a monster. She's going to sue you. Cool, I wrote. I have receipts. Then Diane called. Ashley's mom. I had always liked her. Kind eyes, a sense of humor that softened a room. Ryan, sweetheart. What happened? Ashley is hysterical. She told me to leave because the lease is in her name. So I left, I said. And I took my belongings. She says you took everything. Even the kitchen supplies. I did. I bought them. A long quiet pause. How much did you spend on all that? About 15,000 over the past year. Another pause, then the gentlest sigh. And she expected you to leave it? Apparently. I see, Diane said, voice heavier now. That was short-sighted of her. I'll talk to her about realistic expectations. 2 mornings later, pounding shook my new door. Heavy, insistent. I checked my doorbell camera feed, Ashley, flanked by 2 large men I didn't recognize. I called through the door, calm. Can I help you? Open this door right now, Ashley snapped. We're getting my stuff. Your stuff isn't here, I said. The furniture is mine. We live together. It's communal property. We weren't married, I said. I have receipts. Please leave. One of the men leaned close to the door. Just open up, man. We'll sort this out. I don't know you, I replied. If you don't leave, I'm calling the police. Go ahead, Ashley sneered. I'll tell them you stole from me. So I did. 10 minutes later, the same officer from before recognized me. I showed the footage of the pounding, Ashley's threats, the 2 men. Ma'am, the officer asked, turning to her. Do you have proof any of this property is yours? We live together, Ashley said. It's common law. This state doesn't recognize common law marriage, the officer said. Do you have receipts? He does, she admitted. But it was for us. The officer exhaled. Without proof of ownership, you need to leave. This is harassment. The men, her cousins, looked suddenly deflated. One turned to me and said quietly, She told us you robbed her. I showed them the receipts on my phone. Dates, amounts, items. They stared, embarrassed, then mumbled apologies and led Ashley away. She took an Uber home. A day later, my phone buzzed with a call from Brittany, a friend of Ashley's. Ryan, weird question, she said. Did Ashley have a furnished place when you met? No, I said. She lived with her parents. She told me this apartment came fully furnished, and she was doing me a favor letting me move in, Brittany said. She was going to charge me $400 extra a month for the furniture. That would have been my furniture, I said. Brittany let out a low whistle. Thanks for the heads up. By evening, word had spread. People may ignore truth for a while, but contradictions have a way of knocking twice. And then, because chaos rarely retires early, I got served with small claims court papers. Ashley was suing me for theft of communal property, emotional distress, and loss of peaceful enjoyment of residence. She wanted $20,000, more than I'd spent in total. My lawyer friend skimmed the documents and laughed, not unkindly. You've got receipts, doorbell footage, and texts where she says you have to leave because the apartment is hers. She has no case. It's going to be awkward for her. The apartment complex called me too. Mr. Peterson again. Voice lowered. I'm not supposed to say this, but Miss Ashley hasn't paid November rent. She's telling us she can't afford it because you stole her money by taking the furniture. Rent was due before you moved. I figured, I said. We served a pay or quit notice, he said. Just thought you should know. The next time Diane called, her voice carried a different weight. Ryan. She's being evicted. I'm sorry to hear that, I said. And I meant it. She says it's because you took everything. Rent doesn't change whether an apartment is furnished, I said. Diane hesitated. She quit her job 2 weeks before the breakup. She said she was going to manifest her dream life and didn't need corporate oppression. I pinched the bridge of my nose and stared at the ceiling. So she wanted me to leave the furniture and keep paying while she found herself? She thought you'd cover half the rent until she found a new roommate, Diane said, the disappointment bare in her tone. Why would I pay rent on a place I can't live in? That's what I asked her, Diane said. She told me it was your responsibility as a man to make sure she was comfortable. Even her mother sounded tired. Court came 3 weeks after the breakup. Ashley arrived in a suit that looked like it wanted a courtroom with marble columns. I wore khakis and a polo. My lawyer said, responsible, not theatrical. Ashley's speech was polished, Your Honor. We built a life together. Everything was ours. He vindictively stripped the apartment, leaving me with nothing, causing severe emotional distress. The judge asked, were you married? No, she said. Do you have a written agreement regarding property? No, but there was an understanding. The judge lifted a hand. I'll hear from the defendant. My lawyer stood. Your Honor, here are receipts, totaling $15,247 for the items removed. Here are text messages from the plaintiff stating the apartment was hers alone, and that my client must vacate. Here is doorbell footage of him peacefully removing his property during daylight hours. The police reviewed this. No crime. The judge watched. He read. He paused at the screenshot. Everything in the apartment stays with the apartment. He looked over his glasses. Miss Ashley, did you write this? She shifted. I meant, did you write it? Yes. Case dismissed, the judge said, voice like a steel door closing. The defendant removed his personal property from a residence he was told to vacate. Plaintiff owes court costs. Ashley's eyes watered. This isn't fair. He left me with nothing. You left yourself with nothing, the judge replied, when you assumed someone else's property was yours. We filed out. In the hallway, Diane approached me. I'm sorry for all of this, Ryan, she said softly. You're a good man. She needs to grow up. Behind her, Ashley snapped, Mom, whose side are you on? Diane turned, weary but firm. The side that pays for what they own. That was the last conversation I had with Ashley in person. Months later, I'd hear from people that she'd been evicted, that she was back with her parents, that she'd tried dating apps using photos of the apartment from when my furniture was inside, only to get roasted in the comments when someone recognized the place and tagged me. Her friend group thinned. The story grew legs. Truth often does when it finally stands up. Meanwhile, my life quieted in the best ways. My new apartment, smaller, sure. But there's something peaceful about a space you earned. I got a promotion at work. It's amazing how productivity skyrockets when your evenings aren't a storm. I started seeing someone new, Sarah, who brings her own furniture and her own ambition. We laugh about little things, like the first time she sipped espresso in my kitchen, and said, this machine is incredible, and I answered, It's seen things. Sometimes, Ashley would still try. A text from an unknown number. I know you hate me, but you really hurt me. I thought we were building something. We were, I replied. Then you decided to keep what we built and kick me out. How did that work out? You're heartless, she wrote back. I blocked the number. Again. One of her cousins reached out to apologize properly. She told the family you were abusive and robbed her, he said, shame in his voice. Once I saw the receipts and texts, I realized the truth. He also mentioned an ex before me who'd caved, walked away, left everything. That's the thing about habits. They keep getting practiced until someone breaks them. A week later, I drove past the old complex. The sky was a fresh blue, the kind that makes even traffic look cinematic. In the parking lot, I saw Ashley with her mom, talking to the building manager, gesturing, pleading. He didn't look moved. Ashley noticed my car, raised a hand, tried to flag me down. I lifted my fingers in a polite wave, and kept driving. That night, Sarah and I cooked dinner. Garlic rising from the pan, music low, the espresso machine humming later like a cat. She asked me quietly, "Do you ever regret taking everything?" I thought about it honestly. I regret not taking a picture of her face when she opened the door to 4 empty walls, I said, half smiling. Sarah laughed. Remind me never to make you mad. Just don't try to keep an apartment you didn't pay for, I said. Deal. In the end, the whole saga cost me maybe $1,000 in moving and a short lawyer consult. The lesson was worth more. People will tell you who they are. They will even write it down in texts. Keep your receipts, literally and metaphorically. Every morning now, I pull a shot of espresso in the quiet of my own kitchen. Steam curls upward, the crema settles like a tiny sunrise, and I take that first sip. Somewhere across town, I imagine instant coffee granules dissolving in a chipped mug. It's not a cruel thought. It's a reminder.